Starting with a 3-page editorial that I have on page 7, 8, and 9, I have a couple of different options. Let's say that as additional material comes in or we sell additional ads and we want to make changes to this editorial. Several things we can do. Now let's say if I sell a single page ad and maybe I want it to go onto page 9, I could actually just take the center of the page and actually just shift the page and move it over to page 10. That gives me a position here to actually drop an ad in from my ads clipboard. Now, let's say that I'm going to move this back, but let's say that I wanted to actually move both of these ads over, and maybe the ad or both of these pages for the editorial over, and I sold an ad that's going to be placed actually on page 8. A couple of different things. You could actually grab the ribbon and slide the ribbon over, and it'll actually move both pages over one slot. Or we added a new feature within Virtual Publisher where you can actually grab and select multiple pages using your cursor and just move that over one page, and then you have the ability to move the entire both pages over, which gives you a center slot for page 8 to actually drag a full page in if you'd like. Now we'll talk a little bit about dragging an editorial over where it actually runs into something else and actually gives you a warning. So let's say that I want to actually open up 2 slots here, and I'm going to take this 2-page editorial and I'm going to drag this 2-page editorial over to page 14. Well, obviously that's going to give me a problem because it's going to run into this editorial. So let me show you how we do this. We're going to grab the ribbon to drag the entire editorial over. And when we try to pull it over, you'll see that a dialog box pops up and gives us some options. So it tells us there's a problem. We ran into another editorial on position 15. So your choice is you can move the target editorial to the clipboard, meaning that it would take this 2-page editorial it's running up against and it'll move it into the clipboard and allow you to continue moving your editorial over. You could reduce the length of the editorial, or you could continue and flow around the editorial where it'll just flow past, and the next available open positions, it'll flow the remaining editorial into those slots. So we'll automate that entire process of dragging and dropping things around. In this case, let's go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and reduce the length of this editorial. And when I say reduce length, what you'll see happen is your story is now a 1-page editorial that it ran into here. Now, not to worry, should you say, well, that's not really what I wanted to do, you could actually take that editorial, you could move it back to page 12, and it's very, very easy to go in and manage the size of editorials. So if I click on the editorial, you'll see it shows me the editorial information, and we'll cover this entire panel in another help video. But let's say that I want to actually make that a 2-page editorial again. If I just put the coverage to 2, and then I go back to my flat plan, you'll notice that now that editorial will become a 2-page editorial and flow between page 12 and page 13. So now it's fixed, no harm, no foul. Now, let's say that we covered this earlier in dragging and dropping ads, but let's say that I want to take this 2-page editorial and I want to drag it over one. It's going to run into this ad, but it's also going to run into this editorial running currently on page 18. So if I drag this editorial over, it's going to give me the drag warning and tell me that it's a violation, and it actually warns me that it doesn't allow me to do that. We have lots of different setups within the system which will allow you to protect from doing things that shouldn't be done. So we'll cover a lot of that in subsequent videos as well.